Now, GJRB presents The Last 7 Days. In this time of lawlessness and utter chaos, there's a program that puts it all into perspective. This is the program where men and women gather to discuss current events and how it lines up with Bible prophecy. And now, The Last 7 Days.
We're going to get started. Everybody knows the story of locusts in the Bible. Plague of locusts that strikes Egypt. There was a recent outbreak of locusts in Las Vegas.
I heard something about that.
It was so big that they saw it on radar.
Oh my gosh.
And they were swarming the Sphinx and the pyramid.
Oh,
the locusts? I thought they
Little grasshoppers, but
they said that the dog was so big that they could see it in the space station.
yeah, there was.
They knocked on the door. Where's Pharaoh?
if they were giant, it probably would have been Peter Graves and the Indians.
So they were swarming the 30-story pyramid at Luxor Hotel and Casino. The pyramids emit a powerful beam of light straight upward, which ironically attracts them.
Fascinating.
The biblical imagery was not lost on the media. Travis Herzog, chief meteorologist of ABC 13, tweeted out a biblical query. Did anyone happen to spot Moses shouting something to Pharaoh in front of the pyramid on the Las Vegas Strip?
It's interesting how the attack of pyramids.
Yeah.
A little bit of grasshoppers. Okay, and Brian, you had this article. California lawmakers passed resolution blaming religious people for the high rate of suicide rates in the LGBT
I
community.
saw that on Facebook last night.
Fortunately, it's only a resolution. It's not a law, but that's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
Lawmakers in California passed a resolution that singles out the state's religious communities and forces them to fully support LGBT individuals. It is astonishing bit to have people of faith conform to the pervading progressive culture. The legislatures even blame religious individuals for many of the issues faced by those in the LGBT community, including suicide, the Federalist reports. The resolution, which recently passed in the state assembly, reads: the legislature calls upon all Californians to embrace the individual and social benefits of family and community acceptance of LGBT people. The document unapologetically pins blame on people of faith for being contributors to the skyrocketing suicide rates among the gays, lesbians, and bisexuals and transgender community.
Remember, Lone Burns.
The skyrocketing rate of people wanting to commit suicide and depression. Maybe it's because there's more and more people acknowledging that.
Right.
But anyhow, the stigma associated with being LGBT often created by groups and societies, including therapists and religious groups, have caused disproportionately high rates of suicide, attempted suicide, depression, rejection, isolation among the LGBT and questioning individuals of all that. So, it's just a resolution.
Supposed to recognize the benefits of what are the benefits
The benefits of
being LGBT?
Yeah. Well, all the benefits are all these things that drive that suicide.
Oh, that's the benefit? Okay.
That must be the benefit.
Look that up for a minute.
Pretty soon, every social war in the world is going to be blamed on Christianity.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the hero did was wrong. But Christians are wrong.
It's going to be a terrible place soon for Christians.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's
You can't counsel them so they commit suicide if you bring them to Christian.
yeah. It's taken away to destroy people. Christians have the answer, and Christians that are trying to console, trying to get them to talk to them about, you know,
Yeah. Because
coming out of LGBTQ, and it's, you know, the frontline people are the Christian therapists. Those are the first ones that everybody's deputies.
Yeah, because they have such a high success rate in California.
Yeah.
They all know.
And might I also point out that this is the thing that upsets Brian Houston from Hillsong, is Christian therapists.
Right.
Trying to talk people out of homosexuality. Okay, while we're still in California, let's talk about this. California passed a state law banning Trump from the ballot unless tax forms are
Yeah, I heard
released.
about that
That
too.
was on the radio yesterday.
If they don't have a legitimate candidate on their ballot, then are they a legitimate state? I don't think so.
Well,
They're
they're-
represented.
According to the radio, that just applies to the primary. They can't throw him off the ballot for the actual
In
election.
other words, one of the requirements to be the president of the United States is to have the taxes.
So basically, they're just telling them that they can't, nobody can vote the primaries unless they're man or woman and up against them.
Well, let's just say we pass a law that says if you're a vowed Christian, you can't run for office either.
Yeah, but those are been praying for years.
Yes,
Muslim Brotherhood accuses Egyptian president of making Isaiah prophecy come true.
Oh,
The Muslim Brotherhood,
of course.
quoting Isaiah,
all three of them.
in a criticism of their arch nemesis, the current president of Egypt, the Muslim Brotherhood cited a prophecy from the book of Isaiah, though it may seem odd for Islamic extremists to cite Jewish Bible. An expert in Arabic studies explained that implicit into this reference was a much larger threat which the group hints at in its agenda to replace all other religions. So the Muslim Brotherhood quoted Isaiah 19:2-4. I will incite Egyptians against Egyptians. They shall war with each other, every man with his fellow, city with city, and kingdom with kingdom. And I will place the Egyptians at the mercy of a harsh master, and a ruthless king shall rule them, declares the sovereign, the Lord of hosts. Isaiah 19:2-4. So, yeah, so I thought that was kind of interesting that they're quoting the Bible.
Yeah.
Well, they'll quote up to a point.
Yeah, if it serves their own purposes like so many
They
others.
wouldn't want to quote Muhammad.
Israel's foreign minister announced plans for all world embassies to move to Jerusalem. They're going to give money.
Subsidizing the move.
Subsidizing if they move. And they are offering,
So it's always an incentive.
they're putting a fund together, $14.2 million. For anybody who wants to move their embassy to Jerusalem. The Israeli government is preparing an official initiative, including an incentive package to encourage countries to relocate their embassies to Jerusalem. The foreign minister will soon present a proposal to the cabinet to designate the transfer of embassies to Jerusalem as a national diplomatic and strategic objective of the highest order. Bear in mind, if all these countries in the world are in Jerusalem, that acts as a shield for terrorist countries that want to launch missiles at Jerusalem. Because then that's the way I see it.
You get a whole bunch of people agitated.
Yeah, a whole bunch of agitated. Exactly. When Katz, the foreign minister, began his tenure as foreign minister in February 2019, he learned that that there were countries that agreed to, in principle, to open embassies in Jerusalem, but sought reciprocal measures from Israel. For example, Honduras and El Salvador have agreed to open embassies in Jerusalem, but want Israel to open up full diplomatic missions to their respective capitals in return, a move which hasn't been forthcoming on Israel's part. Other countries have requested developmental and economic aid from Israel, while also hoping such a move would open doors in the United States, and have even asked Israel to help pay for the relocation to Jerusalem. In these cases, too, there have been little to no Israeli follow-up, which has stalled progress on the matter. In his upcoming presentation to the government, Katz will propose giving countries willing to move their embassies to Jerusalem an aid package worth $14.2 million, because Israel is preparing for another general election scheduled on September 17th. Katz proposed pertains to the 2020 national budget. However, according to this proposal, he would have the authority to divert resources from the current budget to facilitate such embassy moves.
So
they're going to start helping countries move.
Okay, so is it 14,000 per country, or is it 14,000?
Per country.
Wow.
Thousand or million?
Millions.
What? Yeah, if you pick up.
$1.2 million.
Pick up the tourism.
And speaking about, this is straight out of Ezekiel 38:39. Arrogant. Whoever's on Israel's side, we are against them.
Huh. Imagine that.
Who said that?
The president of Turkey.
Oh, yeah.
Turkey's president Erdogan said on Saturday that his country will oppose anyone who supports Israel. Erdogan made the comments while addressing provincial officials for his ruling Justice and Development Party in Ankara. He was quoted by Iran's press TV. So, whoever's on the side of Israel, let everyone know that we are against them, stated Erdogan.
Imagine that.
Well, you would have seen this
That's
about
president.
5 or 10 years ago, because Turkey and Russia were enemies, now they're bedfellows.
Yeah, exactly.
Strange ones, but bedfellows.
Yeah.
Which he actually took on the problem.
So anybody who's on Israel's side will be against Turkey. So that means, so when Turkey decides to become part of a coalition to attack Israel, Ezekiel 38:39, and then we will see Russia and we'll see Iran, and this is a quote. This is quoted on Iranian television.
If I were in so around.
YouTube blocks ad with Christian keyword, labels it unacceptable content.
Yeah.
They were Christian, they labeled unacceptable.
Yes, but not Muslim, by the way. The founder of an organization that serves military veterans suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder says that Google-owned YouTube barred him from running an ad advertising that used Christian as a keyword, but allowed him to run the same ad using Muslim as the keyword.
Muslim, he got through, but we use Christian.
Chad Regolex, a former Marine and professional mixed martial arts fighter who founded the Mighty Oaks Foundation, complained on Twitter Tuesday that he considered it to be clear bias shown by a video streaming platform. We ran a YouTube ad for our veteran ministry outreach for those in need, and it was denied for the word Christian. Insane, Ruben Axe wrote in a tweet. Censorship should terrify every Christian, conservative, liberal. Christian or Muslim. The bias is a dangerous course for America. Ruben X included a screen grab of a notification from YouTube alerting him that Christian is an unacceptable content as a keyword. YouTube responded in a tweet from its team YouTube account explaining that the platform does not allow advertisers to target users on the basis of their religion. Beyond that, we don't have policies against advertising that include religious terms like Christian. The team YouTube tweeted read. That answer did not sit well with the 43-year-old Ruben X. We ran the exact same ad with the word Muslim and it was approved, but Christian was not. He responded in another tweet. Additionally, we ran ads with the keywords Christians for years. This year alone, we have 150,000 impressions on that word in our ads. As per your support line, this is a new restriction. Team YouTube did not respond to Ruben X's follow-up tweet or Twitter. The Christian Post reached out to YouTube and Google for comments on Ruben X's claim that the word Muslim was accepted as a keyword. A response is pending. Sure it will be.
Imagine that.
You know, unless Christianity starts fighting back and using the same methods that they use to get a foothold, we're going to lose that war. They need to start suing them and suing them heavily, getting them in the pocketbook, because if it doesn't cost them money, they don't care. They'll just keep doing it and doing it and doing it.
Actually, the government is suing.
Trying to,
But it's almost like pocket change. I mean, it's one of those types of situations.
Well,
But right now, the politicians aren't going to come down too hard because they want their specific agenda to be able to go through the online because elections coming up. So they don't want to have all of a sudden, these big mega giants saying, well, we're not going to have your ad on our posted because, they want to put it on there when people keep it on it so they can campaign for president. So not as stable rallying right now. They're doing things just enough to make it look like they're doing something, but I'm not going to crack down too hard because if what they want to say is that when I got out there, then that's going to hurt their campaign. So they're not going to push down too hard.
There's already been at least a couple of politicians that have attacked the
Well, right.
social media because they wouldn't carry their ads.
Also, the Olympics is coming up, and this is going to be the first major one in history that we're going to allow PGA on team to.
Yeah, I heard that too.
In fact, there was a gal that was competing in track in North Carolina, trials about this, and they told her she'd been training for this for a long time, and only if you win the race, you get to go to nationals and all that. But she trained her guts out, and then they stuck a guy in her dress as a girl and won the competition.
Two guys. Two guys.
So she's knocked out of she could have forfeited, but then that would have been, they would have gone on by proxy.
It's it.
That's not so. I mean, it was a year ago now, at a high school state track meet. Two, transgender boys took first and second in the girls' side, and they said that their speeds wouldn't even qualify on the guy's side.
Well, and that's the thing that strikes me as so crazy about the Me Too movement, because they're pro-abortion, which the majority of the aborted children are women. They're pro-lesbian and pro-transgender, which is going to take all their opportunities away in college scholarships, because there won't be no women running in sports anymore. They'll all be transgender men that claim to be women, and they're all Islamic. They're all for Islamic, which we can just see in other Islamic countries how well that's worked out for women. So, to me, the Me Too movement is just on a suicide course. And the same thing is true earlier on in feminism. Feminists, see, this is all springs from the feminism movement from the 60s, where they supported policies that was harmful for them. And of course, it's harmful because most of these policies are against the Word of God. It's in rebellion against God.
Yeah.
So, I just marvel at these women that spout about the Me Too movement, to get equal rights in workplace and all that stuff. And the truth of it is their policies do nothing but undermine women in this nation.
The big problem with this is, you'd be thrown out for doping to go listen to guys listen to the girl in the competition.
Exactly.
Wow.
There will be no women's sports in 10 years. They'll all be transgender. And here's the thing that gets me.
I don't get into sports anyway.
Well, here's, yay, the United States women won the World Cup or whatever, World Cup I think it is.
Soccer, yeah.
That's, everybody's celebrating in America, what a tremendous thing. Well, except for one small thing. Most of them are lesbians. Now, they'll all be replaced by transgender guys down the line. But here's the thing. The soccer team has been pro-lesbian for a while. There was one Christian on that team, and she refused to wear the rainbow colors, and they kicked her off the team, and she was probably the best player on the team, and the coach said, I don't care, we will lose the World Cup if we have to, but if she refuses to wear the rainbow LGBT colors, she's kicked off the team.
So it's going to happen in the NFL and the Major League Baseball as well.
Well, it's already happening.
Because those are played by guys.
Remember when you went to those sporting events and they would wear the colors of the American flag, as a patriot instead of, and now what do we represent? We don't represent America, we represent an ideal.
And that's exactly right. And teams like the NFL, especially, will be all for it because they're trying to get world acceptance and they can care less about the Americans right now. Right. This is all about world acceptance.
Look at Tim Tebow. He came out with the back to back of that black guy who was coming out of the closet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's, Kaepernick.
And I have one last story. Don't do many. Biblical archaeologists discover a massive, giant-sized fortification believed to be the ancient Philistine city of Gath and the home of Goliath. They have been digging at this place. They thought that they had found Gath. And they've been digging on this place for a few years. But then they got down to what they call the Goliath layer. And there's some interesting, from that time, 11th century BC.
According to
was what they think Goliath.
according to
David.
their records of Gath, that most of them guys were giants, so it's just Goliath was the biggest of them all.
Well, it was a city of giants.
Yeah, so how would they narrow it down to Goliath's there?
Well, because he was from Gath.
I knew that.
So they think that they dug down, and this is the reason why. They wondered why, when they were digging down, why the city isn't that big and didn't have a lot of fortifications until they got down to this lower level layer, which is 13 feet below the surface. They've got 13 feet, I think it was. And they uncovered fortifications discovered in the lower city, 13 feet. The fortifications were 13 feet wide, so I'm not really sure. The fortifications were 13 feet wide, and they were 6.5 to 8 foot wide walls discovered from later periods. So they went from Otherwise, the dimensions of the building material itself are dramatically different. The later layers at the site, the ancient architects used half meter long or 1.5 feet stones. The Goliath layer had stones that was 3.2 to 6.5 feet long.
Wow.
So that they were using bricks that were 6.5 feet long.
Wow.
Rather than using the standard smaller bricks. The 11th century city was outstandingly large. The city of Gath, remember, a city of giants. The area that they now found covers 500 dunamas, which is 123.5 acres. 123.5 acres. More than twice the area of most comparable cities in the region. And at the height of Jerusalem was only 400 to 500 dunamis.
Yeah, they're big. They didn't want to bump into each other.
Exactly. So at the height of Jerusalem was still perhaps smaller than when Goliath perhaps was in Gath. The city was even bigger than that because of the giants that lived in the city. And remember the 12 spies.
Right. Well, it was you that had that
Before that
3 years
time.
of building breeze.
Right. I had a couple thousand.
Right.
What? Glenn?
Oh, you the one that had that, the pictures of those giants in Greece?
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them are like 26 feet high. Those are giants. Yeah, you can see those.
It's big people.
Yeah, they thought they'd been Greece in that thing.
So to summarize it, they've been digging here for some time, and they're a pretty normal city except it didn't have any fortifications. And they got down to this Goliath layer, they call it the Goliath layer, where everything is much, much larger. The city is actually much larger, and the stones that they use is much larger. The walls are bigger, so.
You expect that of a city of giants.
Originally, David's from the 11th century BC, and it was destroyed by the Armenian king Hazael in 830 BC, as written in 2 Kings 12:18. So I find that kind of interesting. That now it's starting to make all sense that this town wasn't that big or impressive, but it fit the location. It fit the location. And
Just need to dig a little farther.
to dig a little further, and so they're finding the stones were 6.5. Some of them are 6.5 feet long. The bricks that they used for the fortifications,
Jeez.
and as opposed to like a fraction of that on top.
32. So it's double to 4 times the size of the area that's higher up.
The stones on the top were 1.6 feet long, a foot and a half long, which would be. But then when they got down to the last, they were up to 6.5. So that's all I have today. Do we have anything else? I don't know.
You know about that was on Google about something about a new world.
Well, there's
Yeah.
this new planet found like,
Very close, similar, close by.
so I'm wondering then if we're gonna
Still
find out
pretty
there's
far
some
away.
life on there and it'll be visited.
What?
Still like 32, 34 light years.
31.
31.
It's not like you're going to get there in a lifetime.
Yeah.
So they think they found a new planet, like in the globe we live on.
Which could be all just a precursor to, you know,
Now, we're gonna start
some
shooting
sort of
technology,
alien
we can
messiah.
get there on warp speed.
Some sort of alien messiah. There's when we were looking at last week we talked about this.
We showed this last night too, that.
Yeah, we shared this last night. Is when there's a new Earth, which is a renovated Earth, not new. The word there's two words for new. One is completely new, and the one is a refreshed new. Is what it's defined as. And the word new, as in completely new, completely new, is actually not found in the book of Revelations. Every new that you read in the book of Revelations is like a refreshed new. So, which is kind of an interesting thing. But anyhow, it talks about the new earth and new heavens, and what we had a picture of last night. When New Jerusalem comes down, there's no way that we can have the same kind of spin on this earth with New Jerusalem coming down. So God, when He renovates the earth to a new earth, a renovated earth, it affects the heavens. And I say this like a pebble thrown in a lake that has a ripple effect. So what God does to this earth affects the atmosphere, the heavens above us, and it also affects the stars out in space. So it's like a snowball effect. And so what I like about that is that snowball effect shows us the importance that this earth has towards other planets. So, I mean, planets do not live, they live in relationship with each other. They don't live independently. There's some sort of force that diminishes out as we get further away. But if one planet should move away from the path that they're on, that would affect the whole solar system. So I think that it's interesting that it says that when God renovates the earth, it affects the heavens, the atmosphere, which we can understand that, but it also says it affects out further out. So that just kind of shows me the importance of the earth. Because God does something here on earth and it affects our solar system and probably beyond that. Wow. Chain reactions. So I thought that was kind of interesting because I think that I don't see anywhere that in Scripture that we have any contact with alien races. So anything that comes down is, and it's, if you look at the History Channel is all about UFOs.
Yeah.
I call it the UFO channel. And this is the History Channel. Most of the time it's about UFOs. So it's almost already setting us up for, that we're going to have this alien race coming down and they're going to impart some sort of wisdom upon us.
George Norrie's always on each alien.
Yeah, I know.
And I think that's why the format for that kind of radio program is so popular. It's the highest rated overnight talk radio show now.
And see, all that can be easily explained by angels that came down in Genesis chapter 6 about marrying with women. It can be easily explained. And instead, rather than believe a biblical account, would rather follow this fable, which is interesting because the Bible says in the last days we'll follow fables of men.
Yeah.
And rather than accept what the Bible says.
That's why, was it 7 million people were in the storm by Area 51. September. Well, everybody gets shot.
Is that now?
If you can't cross Area 51, you get shot.
Remember that?
It's supposed to be a facility run by the government. They supposedly think that there's aliens hiding there. Area 51 has been a big thing in Nevada since what? The supposed crash in 1947.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Mexico's famous for that. That's where their acorns are. They're
Right.
capital.
Well,
Far out place.
Yeah.
it also talks about in the last days signs and wonders the Antichrist is going to be able to, perform, and I think quite possibly, aliens.
What is it? One of our chemtrails.
Yeah.
You talked about that before, about the screen.
So, I don't know whether it says fire up in heaven or not. You wonder if you have something off the space station that would say fire or something. We got enough sound.
What do you think of this bit that everybody thinks that the moon landing was fake?
What's that?
The moon, what?
The moon
There's a movement going on that says that the moon landing was
Those people-
staged. Hollywood set.
It's the same people that believe in a flat earth, too.
Yeah.
You can't, even with a Hubble telescope, pick out the landing sites on the moon. But there's some other, I don't know if they have a satellite that goes around the moon or what, but you can actually see the footprints with the cameras
Yeah.
that they have on that.
How do you see the flag they planted?
You gotta have something to.
It makes good sensational, reading or book selling.
Yeah. I just think that you lose all credibility when you think the earth is flat.
So especially if it goes so far.
I had to get one of the flat earthers on our radio show and ask him one question. How do you expect the sun to revolve around a flat earth?
Well,
How do you expect a flat earth to rotate on its axis?
Well, they think it's a flat earth. They get the idea from the angels that four winds. So it's not true. The earth can go. Did you know that they only discovered the fulfillment of prophecy, or at least the truth in the book of Ecclesiastes, where Solomon says that the wind goes north and the wind goes south? Everybody thought it was east or west. They were flying over Germany, and they're dropping lobs over there. They started hitting tailwinds of 35 to 75 mile an hour winds going north.
Going north?
Going north and south. Yeah, they could figure out what in the world's going on. And it dawned on them that these tailwinds, that the wind was not just going east and west, we had tailwinds going north and south. It was actually fantastic centuries ago. Nobody found that out until World War II. When the bombers were being shaken, going north and south, going like this, and we flipping the plane and all that stuff. You know, what was going on? Tailwinds and wind circuits going north and south. Like the Bible said. Found that out in World War II.
Well, that's all we have. So,
I don't know whether it's going to be more on Google today or not. About other stuff.
I'm sure it's all
Be careful what you read.
More than
Remember,
likely, that's
Thursday
probably
is
why
our
my show's getting
Thursday
blocked.
Bible school, and we will not meet next Thursday.
Yes, we will not be meeting next Thursday. We have vacation Bible school all next week. So we will not be meeting next Thursday, and we're not having any meeting next Wednesday. So
I know Tuesday morning.
That concludes this edition of The Last 7 Days. Opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of Spreaker or GJRB. Join us next time here on Spreaker for another podcast of The Last 7 Days on GJRB. This is the GJRB Online Network.